A meeting of minds and souls, Mohan Bhagwat meets His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The meeting between RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat and His Holiness the Dalai Lama on December 20, 2021, at Gaden Phodrang, Dharamshala, was not just a ceremonial visit but a profound confluence of two distinct yet interlinked traditions. Representing the cultural and spiritual legacy of India and the enduring resilience of Tibetan Buddhism, the dialogue between these two eminent personalities holds immense significance in contemporary times. Context of the meeting. Mohan Bhagwat, the chief of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, was accompanied by senior RSS leader Shri Indresh Kumar during this important visit. The meeting was part of a 5-day tour by Bhagwat to the Kangra and Dharamshala regions. Prior to this, Bhagwat participated in a significant seminar in Kangra, attended by around 60 intellectuals, including prominent Tibetan leaders such as Sikyong Penpa Tsering and the Speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Khenpo Sonam Tenphel. The event took place at the residence of His Holiness, Gaden Phodrang, a place imbued with spiritual and historical importance. This was not just a formal exchange but a meaningful dialogue between two figures deeply invested in upholding humanity's shared values of compassion, coexistence, and collective responsibility. Following the meeting, Bhagwat and his delegation also engaged with other Tibetan leaders, fostering an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding. Key themes and messages. 1. Interfaith harmony and unity. One of the central themes discussed during the meeting was the importance of religious harmony. His Holiness the Dalai Lama highlighted India's unique position as a global model for interfaith coexistence. In a world increasingly divided along religious lines, India's experience serves as a guiding light, demonstrating how diverse faiths can coexist peacefully. Bhagwat's engagement with His Holiness reinforced this message, emphasizing the role of dialogue in bridging differences and nurturing mutual respect. 2. Cultural and spiritual resonance. The encounter symbolized the enduring connection between Indian cultural heritage and Tibetan Buddhism. His Holiness the Dalai Lama's teachings draw heavily from ancient Indian philosophies, particularly Nalanda's scholastic traditions. Bhagwat, representing RSS advocacy for India's civilizational ethos, acknowledged this shared legacy. The discussion underscored how India and Tibet, despite political and geographical challenges, remain intertwined through their spiritual and cultural values. 3. Support for Tibetan identity and autonomy. Bhagwat's meeting with His Holiness also carried a political undertone. Expressing solidarity with the Tibetan cause, Bhagwat reiterated India's historical support for Tibetan autonomy and identity. He highlighted the brotherly relationship between the Indian and Tibetan peoples, promising unwavering support for the preservation of Tibetan culture and Buddhism. This gesture holds significant diplomatic weight, considering the sensitive nature of the Tibetan issue in global geopolitics. 4. Shared values of compassion and responsibility. Both leaders reflected on the universal values of compassion, empathy, and responsibility. His Holiness' teachings on compassion resonate deeply with RSS' emphasis on seva, selfless service. The dialogue emphasized how these values can be leveraged to address pressing global challenges such as climate change, inequality, and social discord. By advocating for a collective return to humanity's core principles, the meeting provided a beacon of hope amidst global turbulence. Broader implications. 1. Religious diplomacy. The meeting exemplified how interfaith dialogues can transcend religious and cultural boundaries to foster mutual understanding. In a polarized world, such initiatives serve as a reminder of the potential for collaboration between diverse ideologies. 2. India's role as a mediator. By hosting and facilitating such engagements, India strengthens its position as a global mediator in promoting peace and harmony. The encounter also reflects India's commitment to supporting Tibetan refugees and preserving their cultural identity. 3. Reaffirmation of shared heritage. The dialogue between Bhagwat and His Holiness reiterates the shared philosophical and spiritual heritage that binds India and Tibet. This shared legacy is not only a source of mutual inspiration but also a testament to the enduring strength of ancient traditions in addressing modern challenges. The setting and historical context. The meeting between Mohan Bhagwat, the chief of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Dharamshala is of profound historical and cultural significance. Taking place as the world cautiously steps out from the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, this event marks a vital resumption of face-to-face interactions with one of the most revered spiritual leaders of our time. The setting in Dharamshala, a serene town nestled in the Kangra Valley of Himachal Pradesh, added a symbolic resonance to the occasion, as the town is not only the seat of the Tibetan government in exile but also a global hub for Tibetan culture and spirituality. The context and importance of the meeting. Mohan Bhagwat's visit to Dharamshala came on the heels of his participation in a seminar in Kangra, where he engaged with intellectuals, including Sikyong Penpat Sayering, the president of the Central Tibetan Administration, and Khenpo Sonam Tenphel, speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in exile. This meeting with the Dalai Lama was the second such interaction in a short span of days, highlighting the depth and urgency of these dialogues. These were not mere ceremonial exchanges but significant discussions that reaffirmed shared values, commitments, and aspirations for a harmonious future. The timing is particularly notable, as it reflects an effort to strengthen cultural and spiritual ties amid ongoing geopolitical shifts and challenges. Historical relations between India and Tibet. The bond between India and Tibet transcends geographical proximity, rooted deeply in shared spiritual and cultural heritage. India, the birthplace of Buddhism, has been a sanctuary for His Holiness the Dalai Lama and thousands of Tibetan refugees since their exodus following China's annexation of Tibet in 1959. Over the decades, India has played a pivotal role in preserving Tibetan culture and spiritual traditions, offering a safe haven where these can thrive despite the challenges posed by political and cultural suppression in Tibet. Dharamshala, often referred to as Little Lhasa, became the epicenter of Tibetan life in exile. The Central Tibetan Administration, headquartered here, works tirelessly to advocate for the rights of Tibetans and maintain their cultural identity. The Dalai Lama's presence in India symbolizes not just a physical refuge but also a moral commitment by India to uphold the principles of compassion, peace, and resilience. The gratitude expressed by Tibetan leaders during this meeting underscores the enduring solidarity between the two peoples. Symbolism and implications of the meeting. The meeting holds significant symbolic and practical implications. It underscores India's unwavering support for the Tibetan cause, which is not merely a political stance but a profound expression of cultural and spiritual solidarity. By engaging with the Dalai Lama, Mohan Bhagwat and the RSS reaffirmed their acknowledgement of the unique relationship between India and Tibet, one that is rooted in shared philosophies and historical narratives. Such gestures resonate deeply within the Tibetan community and reinforce India's position as a custodian of Tibetan heritage in exile. Additionally, this interaction can be viewed through the lens of India's broader geopolitical strategy. The Dalai Lama's global influence as a spiritual leader and advocate for peace provides India with a soft power asset, particularly in the context of its complex relationship with China. While India officially adheres to the One China policy, its support for the Tibetan diaspora serves as a subtle but potent counterbalance to Chinese hegemony in the region. Cultural and spiritual dimensions. The meeting also highlights the enduring relevance of Buddhism as a bridge between cultures and nations. Buddhism, which originated in India and found its way to Tibet centuries ago, continues to serve as a shared spiritual heritage. This shared lineage reinforces the philosophical connection between the two regions, emphasizing values like non-violence, compassion, and interdependence. Such values resonate not just within the Tibetan and Indian communities but also in the global discourse on peace and coexistence. The presence of leaders like the Dalai Lama and Bhagwat in such a setting is a reminder of the importance of spiritual and cultural dialogues in addressing contemporary challenges. In a world often dominated by materialism and conflict, such interactions provide a counter-narrative that prioritizes harmony, understanding, and the preservation of cultural identities. India's role as a custodian of Tibetan heritage. India's commitment to the Tibetan cause goes beyond providing physical refuge. Over the years, India has facilitated the establishment of Tibetan schools, monasteries, and cultural institutions, ensuring that younger generations can remain connected to their roots. The Indian government and civil society have also supported efforts to document and preserve Tibetan texts, art, and rituals, recognizing the universal value of this endangered heritage. This meeting serves as a poignant reminder of the moral and cultural responsibility that India has embraced. The presence of Tibetan refugees in India is not merely a humanitarian issue but also a testament to the country's role as a steward of global cultural diversity. Themes of discussion: what might have transpired? The conversation between the Dalai Lama and Indian religious and cultural leaders such as Mohan Bhagwat and Indresh Kumar underscores themes that are universal in their significance and profound in their implications. While the specifics remain private, the broader themes provide a compelling framework to explore. 1. Religious harmony, a beacon for the world. Indresh Kumar's observations about the Dalai Lama's acknowledgement of India as a model of religious harmony highlight a pressing global need. India, as a nation with a deep and diverse cultural and religious fabric, has maintained coexistence among various faiths for centuries. This achievement is rooted in its ancient philosophy of Sarva Dharma Sambhava, which translates to equality of all religions. The Dalai Lama's emphasis on India's role in promoting global harmony serves as both recognition and a call to action. In a world increasingly divided along religious and ideological lines, India's example is a powerful counter-narrative. It exemplifies how pluralism, mutual respect, and spiritual tolerance can create a society where diversity is celebrated rather than feared. However, the challenge remains: can India effectively project this model to inspire global harmony? The Dalai Lama's remarks suggest that achieving religious harmony is not merely an ideal but a necessity in the quest for global peace. Their discussions likely delved into how India's spiritual leadership could spearhead initiatives that encourage global understanding, tolerance, and cooperation. 2. Support for Tibetan culture and autonomy. The meeting between the Dalai Lama and Mohan Bhagwat also reaffirmed India's steadfast support for Tibetan culture and autonomy. This support goes beyond diplomatic symbolism; it reflects a profound commitment to human rights and cultural preservation. Tibet's struggle, as highlighted in the conversation, is more than a political issue; it represents a humanitarian and cultural crisis. Tibetan culture, deeply intertwined with Buddhism, has faced significant challenges over decades, including the suppression of religious freedoms and the erosion of its unique identity. The Dalai Lama's leadership has focused on nonviolent resistance and preserving the Tibetan way of life. India, as the host to the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile, has provided a sanctuary for this culture to survive and thrive. Preserving a culture under threat requires immense effort and dedication. It means standing firm against forces that seek to homogenize identities and erode unique traditions. India's role, as likely emphasized in the discussion, is to continue supporting the Tibetan people's right to self-expression and dignity. This dialogue would have underscored the universal principle that the preservation of any endangered culture is a responsibility shared by humanity. 3. Universal values, the Dalai Lama's vision for humanity. The Dalai Lama has consistently championed values such as compassion, kindness, and global responsibility. These are not abstract ideals but foundational principles for addressing the crises of our time, whether ecological, social, or moral. In their discussions, these universal values likely formed a cornerstone of their dialogue. The Dalai Lama's teachings on the interconnectedness of all beings provide a lens through which to view modern challenges. His emphasis on compassion as the antidote to conflict and greed speaks directly to a world struggling with polarization and materialism. Mohan Bhagwat's engagement in these discussions signals a shared recognition of these principles' importance. The question posed by their dialogue remains critical: can we, as a global community, prioritize humanity over profit and compassion over conflict? In an age where economic and political interests often overshadow ethical considerations, the Dalai Lama's vision serves as a timely reminder of what truly matters. Broader implications. The meeting symbolizes more than a convergence of spiritual thought; it represents a dialogue on actionable ideas for building a better world. Religious harmony, cultural preservation, and universal human values are not isolated concerns but interwoven threads in the fabric of a peaceful global society. The Dalai Lama's collaboration with Indian religious leaders reflects an effort to not only address these challenges but to inspire collective solutions. India's role in this endeavor is pivotal. As a nation that embodies pluralism and has hosted the Dalai Lama for decades, it is uniquely positioned to lead by example. The discussions likely explored practical steps to promote harmony, from grassroots interfaith initiatives to global advocacy for the protection of endangered cultures. The significance of this meeting. The meeting between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Mohan Bhagwat, the chief of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, represents a moment of profound cultural, political, and philosophical importance. Beyond being a ceremonial gesture, this interaction serves as a powerful statement on multiple fronts, underlining shared values, global diplomacy, and a commitment to preserving unique identities. 1. Strengthening India-Tibet relations. India has long been a sanctuary for Tibetan refugees, including the Dalai Lama, who sought asylum in 1959 after fleeing Tibet. Over the decades, India has emerged as a custodian of Tibetan spiritual and cultural heritage. This meeting reinforced India's historical role, reminding the world of the deep connections that bind these two regions. The Dalai Lama is not merely a figure of spiritual authority; he symbolizes resilience in the face of adversity and serves as a beacon of hope for Tibetan exiles worldwide. By hosting the Dalai Lama and supporting the Tibetan community, India has demonstrated its commitment to the principles of compassion, mutual respect, and cultural preservation. This partnership, rooted in shared values, transcends mere political or transactional dynamics. It highlights the enduring ties between two great traditions, the Tibetan Buddhist ethos of peace and spiritual awakening and India's legacy as the cradle of diverse philosophical thought. The meeting reiterated that India-Tibet relations are not just about historical responsibilities but also an ongoing commitment to cultural coexistence. 2. Geopolitical messaging. The timing and context of this meeting cannot be overlooked, especially in the larger framework of India-China relations. India's strategic interactions with the Dalai Lama carry nuanced geopolitical implications. While India has consistently refrained from overtly endorsing Tibetan independence, it has also maintained a firm stance on safeguarding Tibetan cultural identity and autonomy. By engaging with the Dalai Lama, India subtly underscores its disapproval of China's policies in Tibet, particularly the systematic erosion of Tibetan identity through forced assimilation and restrictive practices. This meeting is a quiet yet potent reminder that India will not remain a passive observer in the face of cultural erasure. The gesture resonates with global concerns over human rights violations in Tibet and highlights India's role as a significant player in advocating for cultural preservation. It also sends a message to the international community: diplomacy and political statements need not always be loud or confrontational. Sometimes, actions, or even meetings, can speak louder than words. 3. Cultural diplomacy at its finest. The interaction between Bhagwat and the Dalai Lama serves as an exemplar of cultural diplomacy. It bridges India's deeply rooted ideals of dharma, nonviolence, and pluralism with Tibet's spiritual teachings of compassion and mindfulness. Such exchanges remind the world that diplomacy is not solely about negotiations or economic interests but also about shared humanity and ethical collaboration. In an era marked by political polarization and fractured international relations, cultural diplomacy provides a refreshing approach. By emphasizing values over power, compassion over competition, and wisdom over aggression, such initiatives can foster a more inclusive global order. The meeting highlights that cultural diplomacy is not just a tool for fostering bilateral relations but also a mechanism for addressing larger global challenges, such as cultural erasure, forced migration, and the loss of spiritual heritage. Philosophical reflections, a dialogue beyond borders. The recent meeting between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and leaders of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, in Dharamshala, India, serves as a profound reflection on the intersections of philosophy, culture, and humanity. This gathering prompts us to delve deeper into essential questions. What does it mean to live in harmony? How do we navigate the delicate balance between preserving cultural identity and embracing the inevitable forces of modernization and globalization? This dialogue is not merely a convergence of two figures but a significant moment for humanity to re-examine shared values and paths forward. The meaning of living in harmony. Living in harmony encompasses a state where individuals and societies coexist peacefully, respecting differences while fostering unity. The Dalai Lama, a global symbol of compassion and nonviolence, has continuously advocated for harmony rooted in empathy and understanding. His philosophy encourages humanity to see beyond divisions, be they religious, cultural, or political, to recognize the shared essence of human experience. On the other hand, the RSS, one of India's most influential socio-cultural organizations, emphasizes cultural unity within India's diversity. Their focus on Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, aligns with the Dalai Lama's vision of interconnectedness. This shared philosophy underscores that harmony is not an absence of diversity but a celebration of it, bound by mutual respect and shared aspirations. Cultural preservation amid modernization and globalization. One of the most pressing challenges of our era is the tension between cultural preservation and the sweeping forces of modernization and globalization. The Dalai Lama's life exemplifies the struggle and triumph of cultural preservation. Since fleeing Tibet in 1959, he has tirelessly worked to sustain Tibetan culture, language, and religion in exile. He views cultural preservation not as resistance to change but as a commitment to maintaining a rich heritage that offers wisdom and guidance for future generations. In his words, certain elements of our traditions may no longer be relevant in today's world, but others carry timeless value that must be preserved. Similarly, the RSS emphasizes the significance of cultural rootedness in a rapidly changing world. By promoting Indian traditions, languages, and spiritual philosophies, the RSS seeks to create a foundation that can coexist with technological and economic advancements. Their approach highlights the idea that modernization does not necessitate cultural erosion. Instead, it can be a means to strengthen cultural identities through adaptation and resilience. Lessons of resilience and forgiveness. The Dalai Lama's journey offers a profound lesson in resilience and forgiveness. Despite enduring exile, the loss of his homeland, and facing political challenges, he remains steadfast in his advocacy for peace and compassion. His emphasis on forgiveness, even toward those who oppose him, is a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. He believes that forgiveness is not an act of submission but an assertion of inner peace and moral clarity. The RSS, in its own way, embodies resilience through its unwavering commitment to cultural unity. Operating in a complex and diverse society like India, the organization has worked for decades to promote solidarity among various communities. This commitment reflects a shared belief with the Dalai Lama that resilience is essential not only for survival but also for thriving in a world of uncertainties. The intersection of philosophies. The dialogue between the Dalai Lama and the RSS leaders is a convergence of two powerful philosophies. Both entities, while different in their approaches and contexts, advocate for a world where cultural identity and universal values coexist harmoniously. The Dalai Lama's global perspective on interconnectedness complements the RSS focus on cultural rootedness. Together, they represent a dual framework for addressing the crises of modern times, embracing global citizenship while remaining firmly anchored in cultural heritage. This meeting is not merely symbolic but practical in its implications. It demonstrates the possibility of bridging ideological differences to find common ground. Such dialogues remind us that the world's greatest challenges, from climate change to social inequality, demand collective action and a shared moral foundation. Humanity's shared values and the path forward. At the heart of this dialogue lies a profound lesson: humanity's survival depends on its ability to embrace shared values. Compassion, respect, resilience, and a commitment to cultural and moral integrity are cornerstones of this shared ethos. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected, these values serve as the foundation for building a future that transcends borders and divisions. The meeting between the Dalai Lama and the RSS serves as a blueprint for how dialogue can foster understanding and unity. It calls upon individuals, communities, and nations to prioritize collaboration over conflict, empathy over enmity, and cultural pride over cultural supremacy. Only by embracing our shared humanity can we navigate the complexities of the modern world and secure a harmonious future for generations to come. Reactions from the participants. The meeting between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and prominent leaders such as Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, Chief Mohan Bhagwat and senior member Indresh Kumar in Dharamshala, India, in December 2021, was an event of great symbolic and practical significance. This encounter, occurring after a hiatus caused by the global pandemic, highlights key themes of dialogue, unity, and mutual respect. The reactions from various participants reflect deeper insights into the broader implications of this meeting. Sikyong Penpa Tsering, celebrating India-Tibet relations. Sikyong Penpa Tsering, the political leader of the Central Tibetan administration, emphasized the natural and significant nature of the meeting. His remarks underscored the enduring bond between India and Tibet, which transcends formalities and reflects a shared history and mutual support. According to Tsering, India's unwavering support for Tibet has not only been a cornerstone of the Tibetan struggle for cultural and political autonomy but also an embodiment of India's commitment to global justice and human rights. Tsering's comments resonate with the sentiments of gratitude widely expressed by the Tibetan community in exile. India has provided a safe haven for His Holiness and countless Tibetan refugees since 1959, fostering a relationship built on mutual respect and shared values. The meeting thus reaffirms this bond and positions India as a pivotal player in the ongoing efforts to preserve Tibetan culture and identity. Indresh Kumar, acknowledging religious harmony. Indresh Kumar's reflections on the meeting emphasize India's role as a global exemplar of religious harmony. His statement that His Holiness views India as a model for interfaith coexistence underscores a powerful truth: the strength of any society lies in its ability to embrace diversity. Kumar's remarks also highlight India's unique position as a country where multiple religions have flourished side by side for centuries. Kumar's emphasis on the need for India to share its experiences of religious harmony with the world reflects a broader aspiration to promote peace and understanding in a divided global landscape. His endorsement of India's support for Tibet further cements the moral and political alignment between the two entities. This support is not just symbolic, it signifies a commitment to justice, freedom, and the preservation of cultural heritage. The Dalai Lama, building bridges across ideologies. His Holiness the Dalai Lama's willingness to engage with leaders like Mohan Bhagwat, who represent a distinct ideological spectrum, is a testament to his philosophy of openness and dialogue. This meeting serves as a powerful reminder that differences in ideology or belief systems need not be barriers to meaningful conversation and collaboration. The Dalai Lama's approach is rooted in his broader philosophy of compassion, understanding, and mutual respect. His readiness to engage with diverse leaders reflects a profound commitment to building bridges, fostering trust, and finding common ground. In a world increasingly divided by political, cultural, and ideological rifts, such gestures of inclusivity offer hope and guidance for resolving conflicts through dialogue and empathy. Symbolism and significance of the meeting. The timing and context of this meeting amplify its significance. Coming on the heels of the Dalai Lama's resumption of in-person engagements post-pandemic, this gathering underscores the importance of maintaining dialogue in turbulent times. The presence of RSS leaders, representing a powerful ideological and political force in India, lends additional weight to the event. This meeting is not just about fostering relationships between individuals or groups, it is a symbolic affirmation of shared values and aspirations. The interaction between the Dalai Lama and RSS leaders signifies a willingness to transcend ideological boundaries in pursuit of greater goals, such as social harmony, cultural preservation, and global peace. India's role as a guardian of Tibetan culture. India's unwavering support for the Tibetan cause has long been a source of strength for the Tibetan community. This support extends beyond political asylum to include efforts to preserve Tibetan culture, language, and religion. By hosting the Dalai Lama and the Central Tibetan Administration, India has become a custodian of a rich cultural heritage that faces threats of erosion under Chinese governance. The meeting between the Dalai Lama and RSS leaders reaffirms this role, highlighting India's commitment to supporting the Tibetan struggle while maintaining its principles of non-violence and diplomacy. It also serves as a reminder of the shared spiritual and cultural heritage that binds India and Tibet, exemplified by Buddhism's deep roots in both societies. Global implications of the meeting. The dialogue between the Dalai Lama and RSS leaders carries implications that extend beyond India and Tibet. It sends a message of hope to a world grappling with division and discord. The meeting exemplifies the potential of dialogue to bridge gaps, resolve conflicts, and foster understanding among diverse groups. The Dalai Lama's philosophy of compassion and Kumar's call for sharing India's model of religious harmony offer valuable lessons for global leaders. They underscore the importance of inclusivity, mutual respect, and shared responsibility in addressing the challenges of a fractured world. Building bridges across communities. The meeting between Mohan Bhagwat, the chief of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, and the 14th Dalai Lama carries profound implications, transcending the immediate boundaries of culture and politics. This dialogue serves as a reminder of the timeless values of compassion, mutual respect, and the pursuit of universal truths. By exploring how such interactions can foster global cooperation in preserving human dignity, promoting education, and addressing environmental sustainability, we can begin to understand their transformative potential. Bridging divides, the power of dialogue. At its core, the dialogue between Bhagwat and the Dalai Lama exemplifies the need to build bridges across communities. Both leaders represent traditions that emphasize interconnectedness, the Dalai Lama through the Buddhist philosophy of interdependence, and Bhagwat through the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the Sanskrit concept of the world is one family. Their meeting underscores the importance of collaboration to overcome contemporary challenges, such as rising social divisions, inequality, and environmental degradation. Preserving human dignity. Human dignity is a universal value that transcends national, cultural, and religious boundaries. The discussions between these two leaders highlight the role of compassion as a guiding principle for addressing societal injustices. The Dalai Lama's advocacy for nonviolence and empathy aligns with RSS' vision of promoting harmony within a diverse society. By prioritizing dialogue and understanding, this meeting demonstrates how shared values can inspire international efforts to uphold human rights, protect marginalized communities, and combat systemic oppression. Fostering education. Education serves as a cornerstone for empowering individuals and nurturing mutual respect among communities. The collaboration between Indian and Tibetan traditions provides a model for integrating ancient wisdom with modern knowledge. Institutions like the Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies in Sarnath exemplify the commitment to preserving Tibetan heritage while contributing to global academic discourse. The dialogue between Bhagwat and the Dalai Lama further reinforces the importance of education as a tool for fostering intercultural understanding and equipping future generations to address global challenges. Promoting environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability is a critical issue that demands collective action on a global scale. Both India and Tibet share a deep cultural reverence for nature, rooted in their spiritual traditions. The Dalai Lama has consistently emphasized the ethical dimensions of environmental stewardship, while Bhagwat's leadership in promoting sustainable practices within India reflects a shared commitment to ecological preservation. Their meeting highlights the potential for collaborative efforts in combating climate change, protecting biodiversity, and advocating for sustainable development policies. Strength in unity, lessons for global cooperation. The historical ties between India and Tibet, though shaped by shared struggles and cultural exchanges, are ultimately grounded in enduring values such as respect and compassion. This meeting between Bhagwat and the Dalai Lama symbolizes the strength of unity in diversity. It offers a powerful reminder that common values can transcend differences, paving the way for constructive partnerships. By fostering mutual understanding and solidarity, such dialogues can inspire a more inclusive and cooperative global community. The interconnection of compassion and action. One of the key takeaways from this meeting is the recognition that compassion and action are inseparable. Compassion provides the moral foundation, while action transforms values into tangible outcomes. The Dalai Lama's philosophy of universal responsibility and Bhagwat's emphasis on service-driven initiatives illustrate this interdependence. Together, they challenge us to embrace a holistic approach to problem-solving that integrates empathy with practical measures. Conclusion: a moment of unity and hope. This historic meeting between Mohan Bhagwat, the head of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama stands as a luminous beacon of hope in an increasingly fractured and turbulent world. It represents much more than a symbolic gesture. It underscores the deep and enduring bond between Indian and Tibetan cultures, woven together by a shared tapestry of values rooted in peace, compassion, and coexistence. In a time when humanity is overwhelmed by crises of identity, conflict, and survival, such a dialogue serves as a powerful reminder of a universal truth: the answers to the world's most pressing challenges are often not external but internal, waiting patiently to be rediscovered. This meeting is not just a testament to individual leadership but a celebration of the timeless wisdom both Indian and Tibetan traditions offer to a divided world. India and Tibet, bound by more than a shared geographical border, share a profound spiritual and cultural destiny. For centuries, their mutual exchanges have enriched one another, fostering philosophies and practices that emphasize the interconnectedness of all life. Against the backdrop of rising global tensions, environmental degradation, and societal unrest, this meeting resonates as a call to action, a plea to return to the foundational principles of unity, harmony, and mutual respect. As humanity faces unprecedented challenges, climate change, social inequality, and conflicts fueled by divisive ideologies, the relevance of such a gathering extends beyond borders. It urges us to introspect and question: are we building a future where compassion and understanding prevail over discord and division? Are we willing to prioritize shared humanity over narrow self-interests? If not now, then when will we begin this vital journey toward reconciliation and renewal? This moment invites us all to look inward, to seek solutions not in competition or isolation but in collaboration and unity. The meeting between these two profound figures serves as a clarion call, reminding us that the wisdom to heal our fractured world lies within each of us. May their interaction inspire a global awakening, guiding us toward a future where empathy and mutual understanding triumph over the forces that seek to divide us.